Yes! That is awesome! 2010 Nissan Journey. This car has been to 2 shops. What's going on with it is it's intermittently not starting and intermittently quitting. Let's jump in the vehicle, give it a scan. Let's see if I can figure this one out. I have a feeling this one's going to be difficult. This is it right here. They've replaced the starter, the alternator. The customer says it'll just start up sometimes. Sometimes it won't. It runs rough. That's really all the information I got. They said they spent $1,200 at another shop. It literally just was broke a few hours after they took it home. It quit. So let's jump in the vehicle. Let's scan it. This is real time. I don't know what's going on. All right, let's get in it. Let's just plug up the scanner. Okay, we're plugged in. Okay, we're scanning it. All right, looks like we have several codes here. 11 in the PCM. That's interesting. Engine oil pressure, transmission range, crank position intermittent. That's interesting. Multiple. Oh Lord, there's so many codes. I want to just save all these, so I'm going to do a report. So I'm going to go back and clear the codes since I saved them. Let's see if this thing will start. And it will not do absolutely nothing. Okay, try to start it. Nothing. Okay, I'm wondering if this key is even reading. I have this little thing you can put over the key ring to see if it's picking up an RF signal or if it's being transmitted. Let's go get that. It's a neat little tool. I haven't even got to use it yet. All right, this picks up the RF signal off the key. It should flash. Let's put it on. Okay, so if I hold it up, it's hard to do while I'm filming. I got it to flash. I had to hold it. See, it flashed. It's picking up the key. Okay, I'm gonna get back on this Dodge Journey. I had to do some runs real quick. So, where we left off is the key is making a signal. What I want to do now is I want to see if the computer is seeing a crank. What I mean by that is the computer will tell me what state the ignition switch is in. So that's a simple thing we can do with the scan tool. Let's do that. It should, when I turn this key, oh, it is. It's going to on. So I'm turning it on. Okay, so we could see that it is getting a command to turn on the starter. So we know our key is good, our ignition switch is good, and we can rule all that out at this point. Okay, I got the Journey pulled into the shop and I got a battery maintainer hooked up to it. Anytime you do diagnostics, you want to keep your battery charged up. Also, I noticed when I moved the park neutral, the shift lever on the dash, it does not change here. So I'll show you that real quick. This Prindle is not changing. We're going to take a look at that, see if that means anything. I'm not sure, but it definitely seems like a problem.
Right? That's why it's not starting. That's a problem.
Oh, because of the filter? Yeah. I bet it'll start now. Let's try it. This guy. Okay, I just scanned the car and I found an interesting code, and I think this is the problem. Transmission range sensor rationality. So basically it means that the transmission range sensor is not picking up what gear it's in. Let's take it a step further and let's just see what gear it actually says the transmission is in while we're moving the shift lever. If it's not showing a change when we move the shift lever, then we know what to do next. Okay, right off I see a problem. It's saying Prindle display fault. And when I switch the gear, it's just saying it's in neutral. We're gonna have to run down that code and see what we got. Okay, this is the code we're dealing with, P0706, transmission range sensor rationality. Here is a schematic, a wiring diagram. It looks like it gets a relay turns on. Theory of operation, the C1 connector signal circuit communicates the shift lever position to the PCM. Each circuit is determined at the transmission with a switch. Each switch can be either open or closed depending on the shift lever position. The PCM can decode this information and determine the shift lever position. Each shift lever position has a certain combination of switch options, open or closed. This is called the PRNDL code. There are 4 switches there. Therefore, there are many possible combinations of open and closed switches. However, there are only 9 valid codes, 1 for each gear position. Any of the other combinations should not occur. So I want you to go through this procedure and check all the circuits. Okay, it's the next day. We're back on this journey, and what I've decided to do is just start ringing out the wires and checking to see why this thing's not showing a Prindle. The first thing I want to do is just see if there's power to the circuit when you turn on the key to the transmission. So we'll do that next and see what we got. Okay, after looking through this flow chart, I'm going to make this a whole lot simpler. I'm just going to see if we have power here, and we'll check that first. And then if we need to, I'm going to check all these signals and then relate it to this chart right here, open, closed. So we should know if it's in park, C1 should be closed, C2 should be closed, C3, and then C4 should be open. And here are the actual terminals, terminal 42, terminal 41. We'll know if it's closed, closed, closed. It's in park now, so, but first thing we'll do is just check the power to the transmission assembly. I'm going to take out this air box so I can gain access to the electrical plug down there on the transmission. Okay, this is the plug we're trying to get to. I want to see if it has power on the wire going to the circuit. Okay, so this is the wire that we are checking. This is the relay, this wire number 10. And it should, when you turn the key on, it should send power down to here. At number 10, this is the plug to the transmission. So this is 8. Right here's number 8, 9, 10, so it's the middle one. So if you come over here and you look at this plug, you count 8, 9, 10. This is the one here. And just to confirm, I could see it in there. It's the orange or the yellow with the orange stripe. It's hard for you to see, but I've already looked in there and that's the right one. I have a probe. I'm going to probe into the front. So this is just to confirm 8, 9, 10. So we stick that in there. This will be our testing port. I'm just going to lay it here. I got my test light hooked up. Here's the power wire going to the bulb, and then I have it grounded right there on that ground lug here. So when I turn the key, this should flash on to send power to the transmission. So let's do that. So let me put you up here where you can see it. I'm turning the key now. There we go. Do it a couple times. Good. Okay, we got power to the transmission. Let's check the next circuits. I think I'm going to break out the scope for this one so we can be in 4 places at once. And I'll show you what I mean by that. What I mean about being in 4 places at once, we've already checked this wire. That was the wire we just checked. It had power on it going to the transmission. That's when we seen the bulb flash. What I mean by 4 places at once is I'm going to put a probe here, 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 and here. And these are our signals that go to the PCM. So this will tell us why it's throwing that P0701 code. It's saying that one of these signals are out of range. Okay, here's the 5th wire. It's the first wire we're hooking up. It starts here, 4, 5, number 5. It's yellow with a blue stripe. This one right here, so we will probe into that. Next one is 8, dark green and yellow. Right here it is. You can see it pretty easily. We'll probe into this. Okay, the next one is 9, dark blue with dark green stripe. And the last one is 13, and it is this one here. Okay, I have all the wires hooked up to the transmission, and these are the readings I have. I'm going to cycle the key and see what it says. So we're hooked up to every one of these wires, and we're going to see what it's not doing. Okay, so let's look and see what we got on the chart. So it looks normal on the chart when it's in park, closed, 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 open. So if we look, all of ours are the same. They're all closed, 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 and T1 is open. As you can see, this is the only one that has voltage on it, and that's T1. And these are all the same. So what does this mean? It's not doing anything. Let me shift it into another gear. I went into reverse. Okay, we have a change. Let's analyze this. T4 in reverse should be open. So open is 12 volts. Let's see if that's the case. So T41, yes, it switched to open. I'm just gonna go through and check the ones we did. Check, 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 check. Now is T42 closed, which will be 0, and that is the red wire. So let's see. Yes, well, it's at 2 volts. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be at 2.7, so I'll put a question mark beside that. We'll revisit it. Okay, I'll go through these off camera. I'll see what we come up with. Well, everything's checking out. It's all changing state like it should. Anything that's open is 13 volts. Anything that's closed is around 3 volts. So I'm not sure what's going on at this moment. I mean, what do we check next? I don't know. Is it a bad computer? Okay, so I couldn't quite figure out what was going on. I got Ian over here and we bounced things off of each other. And we were kind of talking about these voltages. You can tell the excitement in my voice. I've discovered something, so don't click off. Like I showed you that chart earlier, I just want to walk you through kind of where I'm at. So here's the chart. And these voltages, when it's closed, was 3.2. And all of them were pretty much around 3 volts. And I thought that was kind of odd, but I wasn't sure because they were all 3 volts. So before I started going any further, I wanted to do a voltage drop test, or just to see if there's a bad ground. And you wouldn't believe what I found. This should be under a volt, definitely. This is, okay, before I get too excited. So this is hooked from ground to ground. So the difference in potential from ground to ground is 3 volts. Isn't that funny? Because these have 3 volts on them. So what I'm going to do right now is just hook a clamp from onto the engine block, a wire, and all the way to the ground, and see if this goes to 0. If it does, and I cycle the key and get my Prindle back, we are done. This thing has a bad ground somewhere. I just had to get this on camera because I get really excited when I find faults. So right now Ian is barely touching this ground cable, and if you look, I'll try to get the voltage in the shot and it starts going crazy. So you can see it's kind of changing, going to forward. Look at that, the ground's getting worse. It's a bad ground. So we're going to give it an external ground real quick just to prove what is going on. Okay, Ian's going to hook directly up to the ground, to the battery. It's right there. And then he's going to hook up to this bell housing bolt somewhere around the ground. And that should go to 0 and the car should start. Focused in on the, look at that. There we go. Look at that. I'm going to cycle the key. This is real time. We're going to see if this Prindle's back. Yes! That is awesome. So here's the Prindle. Neutral. That's how you diagnose cars, people. You got to track it down. And sometimes it takes 2 brains. Okay, I got a new cable here, a brand new one, and I'm going to run it from that stud, and I'm going to clean the stud off all the way up to the original stud, and I'm going to clean that area. You can see it looks kind of green, and that way we know it'll get a proper ground.
Premiumbeat.com. 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 Premiumbeat.com.
Okay, put a new ground wire going all the way to the stud. Also cleaned and sprayed some corrosion prevention on them and tightened them in good. So it's definitely got a good ground to the engine. I'll put the air filter in, we'll clear the codes, and we will drive it. All right, we got it all plugged in. Let's start it up, see how she does. a little rough. All right, it started up fine. I'm going to take it on a quick test drive, and I'm sure we'll be all right. I appreciate y'all watching. Catch y'all on the next one.